I haven't played a lot of games this year on the PC, not enough time, but I can easily say Shadow of the Tomb Raider is one of the most beautiful PC ports of 2018. A Ryzen 7 1700 with a 6GB GTX 1060 benchmark coming up. Using Shadow of the Tomb Raider's built-in benchmark starting at 1080p on medium settings, I get 65 FPS on average, with 55 FPS for the 95th percentile. On high settings I got 63 FPS on average, with 52 FPS for the 95th percentile. Highest settings I got 53 FPS on average, with 43 FPS for the 95th percentile. I also ran a custom setting, changing the level of detail, texture and shadow quality to Ultra, as well as changing the anti-aliasing from TAA to SMAA T2X, pushing the quality past the default highest settings, and got 49 FPS on average, with 40 FPS for the 95th percentile. At 1440p, even though the benchmarks show all settings reaching over 30 FPS, the reality is the GTX 1060 is a 1080p card on Shadow of the Tomb Raider, because in-game performance has some random dips I'll talk about later. Lastly, as you can see from the chart, the GTX 1060 is not a 4K card, so unless you like slideshows, I'd avoid playing at this resolution. So when actually playing the game, depending on where I was, there were some random dips. It was like I hit some invisible bump on the road that would drop the frames while I suppose some objects are loading in the background. Now what I would call an on-rail section for this game, I didn't experience this at all. And considering all the craziness that is happening on screen, I feel this random dip issue can be ironed out with a performance patch and some future driver updates. Going from 60 FPS to 40 FPS feels jarring, so I've set VSync to half the refresh rate to fix this in the meantime, locking the FPS around 30 since my old school monitor is only 60Hz. Now I'd show you in-game benchmarks, but Fraps, the software I use to get the benchmark data, does not work with DirectX 12. As I switched to DirectX 11, Fraps started working with Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but surprisingly, Shadow of the Tomb Raider not only looks better with DirectX 12, but runs better. Check this out, at 1080p on medium settings, I'm only getting 57 FPS on average, which is 8 frames per second less than what I got on DirectX 12. What a difference this is compared to Rise of the Tomb Raider. For one, in DirectX 12 and Rise of the Tomb Raider's benchmark, I'd always get a pop-in glitch. And secondly, the game ran better on DirectX 11. So good to see what happens with a game when it's properly optimized for DirectX 12 instead of it being slapped on as an afterthought. Did I mention this game looks sweet? I'm a fan of this series. The Tomb Raider reboot will always have a special place in my gaming heart as it rekindled my joy of gaming after not playing for about a year. I also enjoyed Rise of the Tomb Raider and the views it got me on my GTX 960 benchmark back in the days, and with what I've played so far with Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I'm pretty sure I'll enjoy the conclusion to this trilogy as well. I'm hoping when I've beaten this game, I can say the story and gameplay has improved as much as the graphics. Anyways guys, if you liked this video, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already for more tech, cinematography, and gaming content to come, and I'll see you guys next week.